we're back with our next appetizer. We're back to balls back in my court on that one.
What you
Um,
got?
this was going to be Mercy from the film that just had Chris Pratt in it. It just came out early this year, and it kind of morphed into the films of I'm going to slaughter this guy's name, Timur Bekmambetov.
Okay. Is he Russian?
Yes,
Okay.
I think Kazakh Russian probably at this point would be Kazakh, but part of the old Soviet Union. Um, you would know him from Wanted, the Angelina Jolie movie.
Yeah.
That was his kind of probably still his best film to date. He did that in 2008. I know him from a little bit before that with Night Watch. It was 2004 and Day Watch 2006. Night Watch was kind of like a kind of bombastic. It was a Russian film. It was made in Russia, Russian actors. Kind of was more of a vampire thing. Day Watch kind of morphed into more like a almost sort of like an X Men type, like an original sort of X Men Russian story. It was
Okay.
too hard to explain to get into. Wanted, that was a cool film. All the different characters
Yeah.
and the intrigue back and forth between all these assassins and stuff. Um, I don't know if watching Mercy is what altered my algorithm to where I got into basically like 2 weeks of the films of Timur Bekmambetov.
Okay.
I'll do Mercy first. Um, Mercy, Chris Pratt, 2000 and early this year, 2026. Um, Wanted to note there because I still don't understand why critics just hate everything involved with Chris Pratt. This had like a 25% critics score on Rotten Tomatoes and like an 82% with the fans. And
Okay.
um, I've almost kind of come to judge movies when you see that. I'm like, I kind of want to see that movie. And
Yeah.
if you see it the other way, I'm like, I don't want to see that movie. If the critics love it and the fans don't like it, I'm like, this is some weird message thing that I don't want to watch. And but
They're currently having that issue. I don't know if you call it an issue, but issue with the biopic Michael.
yeah,
Right now on
right,
Rotten Tomatoes, it's 38%, and for the audience score, it's 97.
yeah.
So yeah.
I thought about trying to catch that movie and bring it. Well, we'll maybe get to that in a future show. I grew up through Michael Jackson. I'm guessing you kind of
Oh yeah.
missed
No,
like
I was young, clearly younger, but yeah, I remember his.
our early like VCR rentals were
Mhm.
renting the Thriller movie and
Mm.
getting groups of people together and watching it. Like we did that more than once, like multiple weekends. Like, hey, let's all come over to our house and let's watch Thriller again. And that was
One of the first games that I remember getting really, really into was a game called Moonwalker with Michael Jackson,
yeah, yeah,
and in it you would transform into like the rabbit, and I just thought that was the coolest thing.
yeah. I remember this thing was getting some. I don't know if hate was the right word, but not getting.
Shade.
It was getting shade, and I was like, I'm gonna watch it because I
Yeah,
liked all the people involved. It's
it was
really small
Rebecca
cast.
Ferguson.
Rebecca Ferguson, Chris Sullivan, the police officer, is Callie Rice,
Okay.
a light skinned black girl. I've seen her in something else. I'm not exactly sure um, what else I know her from. Doesn't matter. But not a lot of characters in the movie, and the whole thing it's a mystery about him being accused of his wife's murder, getting tried by the AI judge. You've seen the trailer for the movie. I
I
don't.
have, yeah.
You haven't seen the movie yet, though, right?
No, to me it looked like oh goodness, what's that? Eagle Eye with Will Smith.
I have not seen that. I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about, but
that's what it looked like to me.
the movie really is about the chase of what happened. So, one, I don't want to spoil that because that really is the
Sure.
enjoyment of the movie. Two, it's not one of those things that you go back and watch because kind of once you understand what happens, it's probably not as rewatchable as you really are sort of just trying to,
Figure it
I
out.
wonder if it's this or I wonder if it's that kind of thing. But I like that kind of movie. I don't put them into categories. It's a lower category for me because they're not as rewatchable. It's
Right.
like, what's the Shyamalan thing, The Village?
Okay.
You've seen that,
There's a
right?
few Shyamalans. Yeah.
You've seen that.
Yeah.
Okay. I think if you spoil that at this point, too bad. But the first time you see that, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Then it's like you're watching it the next time, you know the whole thing, and it's like, well, this is kind of dumb. So
Knowing the reveal kind of ruins the premise
it takes
essentially.
not the excitement out of it, but this one has enough action and stuff. It's a it's probably an okay rewatch. Um, really cool concepts and portrayal of like the surveillance world that we live in. Um, definitely trying to probably be a warning for sure.
Mhm.
um, I I kind of have like mixed feelings on the thing. I obviously don't want to live in that world too, but as a police officer for years and someone who spent so much of my time trying to like gather evidence to prove that really bad people were guilty of things that they were obviously guilty of,
Right.
it kind of makes you view this movie in a different way. That you almost kind of like being able to have all of the surveillance stuff that readily available, where you can be like, "You said this." It's like, no, this is a street camera showing you here on at this date and time. There's a lot of that in this
Yeah.
movie, and it's um, you know the concept of like hearsay
Mhm.
that I talk to you at the scene of a crime, you tell me blah blah blah. I come back to court and I try to say, well, when I arrived, Randy said, and the lawyers always jump in and say, no, 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 that's hearsay, that's not admissible, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And it's like he told me what he did, and I always hated that part of being a freaking police officer, man. And I was kind of getting out of police work at the beginning of like the dash cam era, and now they have body cams. Um, so and really, it makes the police officer's job so much easier to have all of that. And
Yeah.
I liked viewing that movie through that lens, where it wasn't like, this guy says he was doing this at this time, and it's like here's a camera from this house, and here's a drone that flew over, and like here's a doorbell camera, and like being able to like triangulate all that, like the judge had access to all that and could do
So,
this.
so is the movie presenting it as like, look at all this overreach and surveillance state, and you're there like, this would have been great.
Yeah, that's basically kind of the point I'm getting
That's
to. Is
funny.
like I think it's supposed to be a warning, and I'm like, man, I wish I'd had that. Because I had to go back and like try to get people and take photo lineups to people,
Yeah.
and you try to get a statement from somebody, and then like they come to court and they start saying something completely different, and judges and people are looking at you like, why did you bring this crap in here? I was
Mm.
like, because when I talked to them there, they said this. I actually had somebody in a case one time where a guy shot at a group of people, and the girl who showed up in court had changed her story to say, I knew that the guy who shot at lever action 30-30 at people, I knew he was pointing at it because I saw the laser come down across my chest and go. It's like they showed me, they picked up the court. We had the gun in
What, a
court,
laser?
like a red dot laser.
Okay.
She's like, I saw the laser, and they picked up this lever action rifle in court. It's like, is this?
There's a laser?
That's how my like I got called into this
Right.
to the stand, sat down. They're like, Officer Hans, got a question for you. And it was like, oh Lord. They're like, is this gun capable of emitting a laser? And I was looking around like, what the hell are you talking about? I was like, what laser?
Oh, so you hadn't heard what she had said.
No,
Oh,
no, it
so
was
you're
all
just like,
separate
what?
testimonies.
Oh, okay.
It was one of those things that it's like, that was the craziest part about being a police officer is from you could be at a scene where there was something that happened. And you had 18 people, and they'd all say exactly the same thing. It's like, man, this is what happened. And then 2 months later, you come to court, and they're like, and then Godzilla came in, and he started shooting lasers. And you're like,
Yeah.
well, what are y'all talking about? So I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of the surveillance thing in this. Um,
It kind of makes me think, and even though like Chat GPT and all that, like completely make stuff up, but a lot of people, especially in the past like 6 months or so, or the year, if you're talking to somebody and you have a question, you used to be like, well, let's Google it.
yeah,
Now people just go straight to Chat GPT, and because it's like an impartial party,
yeah,
and that like with the idea of the having the surveillance footage, it's like, well, you don't have someone giving their perspective, you have footage of the
you have
event
footage of
that
it.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I can freely admit this now that when I had DUIs and we had dash cams, I think I had it one time, and it was one of those things that was just a light bulb went off in my head. I was there talking to an attorney before a case with a VHS tape in my hand from the car because they were still that old technology. And the whole time, like I was talking to him, I kept seeing the attorney like looking down, like looking at the tape and looking back at me, like he wanted to know what I had on the tape. I
Mm.
never said anything to it, and he went back to his guy and they pled, and I was like, he thought I had videotape of this whole thing. I started carrying a blank videotape with me to court every time, and DUIs across the board were just like the attorneys would see you, they come over and talk to you, and every one of them would be like, yeah, so he says this, and but you could watch the attorney's eyes like looking at that tape, like, man, I wonder what's on that tape.
That's clever. That's clever.
I never said that I had a tape that had
Right,
anything. I
right,
just
right.
carried it with me, and I don't know how many DUIs I had that just people just pled to them, and I was just like, I'm sure the attorneys were like, "What's he got on the tape?" And the guy was probably like, "I don't know. I didn't know he had a tape." So I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of the surveillance state here.
Well,
And
I've had a lot of conversations with friends and family regarding those concepts, and a lot of the arguments that, because I'm very much like you know, I don't like the idea of there being cameras all over and recording everything you're doing. But one of the arguments that I just really don't have a response against is, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, what
that's
do you
exactly
care?
what I was getting ready to say.
And
Is like you can tape me off if you
yeah,
want to.
when someone tells me that, I'm like, yeah. I mean, you're right.
If you want to tape me over the course of a week, you're
Yeah,
going to have a lot of footage of some really boring stuff.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, yeah,
yeah.
you might see me like digging in my ear at one point with a stick. If
Right.
you get that on tape, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
my ear itched. What about it? But yeah. But anyway, back
But
to
the in general, and this is probably a part of the inspiration for the film. I know the whole body cam situation, since those have been implemented, they have been a positive.
oh
They've
yeah,
had a positive effect
you
on um,
generally
not solving crimes but prosecutions.
it's been great for I watch police footage stuff all the time. I'm stuck in that world. I'm obsessed with watching it. I don't want to get into the psychiatry or
Yeah, yeah,
psychology of why, but um, one you can see it instantly when an officer does something that's out of line,
yeah.
and and that's got to be a huge burden off the departments to just be like, wow, it's like I can't believe he did that. But it also shows these people they try to turn into these national martyrs and victims that most of the time they're out of line, and it really takes a lot of that gray out. And I don't think there's any. I don't think it's a coincidence that since all this has increased, that you don't have as many George Floyd type things where
Hmm.
people are trying to find a reason to riot and burn something down because somebody will get shot, and then you go see the footage, and it's like, oh wow, he deserved it, and it's like, okay, we don't have a case here. But this movie, I don't know if the algorithm changed it or if it's just coincidence. Put me into this like thing where I watched like 3 movies from Timur Brack Beckman.
Okay.
Let's call Timur from Tim.
From
let's,
Tim.
let's go with Tim. I can't even say Timur. I watched Ben Hur, the 2016 movie, which I didn't even realize he did. I just
Oh, okay.
watched it because it was on my
Yeah.
timeline, and not the best like remake of it, but he shoots some really cool action stuff. There's a sequence when Ben Hur gets enslaved on the ship, and they're using him. There's a big like naval battle, and those guys they're just sitting there rowing the warships, and the ships are all just crashing in each other. It's worth watching that movie just to see that.
Hmm.
That's they've actually got a prisoner on one of the one of the enemy ships has a prisoner chained to the front of their ship. And he looks out the window as the ship is getting ready to crash into him, and there's a dude that's just pinned there, just like no. They crash into stuff. The chariot race stuff is pretty cool to watch too. It's a moderate remake of it, I'd say. They I think they tried to not make it quite as much of a Christian movie as it was originally intended to be, because I don't know if you know the story of Ben Hur. He's pretty much like Forrest Gump, but in the Bible
Oh, okay.
around the time of Jesus. Like
All
he's
right.
he's in and around the events, but he's a fictional character that kind of is there when Jesus is arrested and when he's talking to stuff just prior to him being arrested, and then he's there for at the crucifixion too. They kind of throw that up at the end of the movie. They don't really tie it all in, so they're probably. I think he was trying to make more of an action movie and less a religious movie there, but it's still kind of a cool watch. And then the one I watched right after that is called Profile, and a really small movie, but probably was really a good run for him to make Mercy, because Mercy, most of the movie is like Chris Pratt sitting in a chair
Right.
and the judge on a screen seeing all the footage from all this stuff. Profile is it's a 2018 movie based on a book that was written by a French journalist, and she pen named it Anna Arel because she's had to go into hiding. It was called In the Skin of a Jihadist. um, And it's a true story of where she posed as a girl, as a young girl who, back at the time frame of all this, ISIS was on going online and recruiting young girls to come join ISIS. Excuse me, and be wives for these guys and stuff like that, and promising all these lives of luxury and um, fancy cars and money and cash and big houses and all this stuff. But in this is a true story of what this journalist did, where she posed as a as a young girl and got into this like really quick online relationship with one of the recruiters, and eventually led to tracking him down. There's reports that he was killed, and there's reports that he's still alive. I think that's the problem with some of these terrorist type guys is that it's really hard to ever tell if you actually got them or not because they who knows what names they're giving at the beginning of any of the times that you encounter them.
Right.
Uh, but much like the Mercy movie, this whole movie is her either on Skype with somebody, with him, or with like the director of her of the journalism outfit that she works for, or with her boyfriend. Like it's never anything but like FaceTime screens.
Yeah, there was a few movies that came out a few years ago that was like that, where it was just like literally all the whole movie took place on a computer screen.
Yeah, and it was a really intriguing and kind of pulls you in kind of movie for something that never really they probably shot in one room, and it obviously was a low budget movie too.
I'm thinking of the movie I saw called Open Windows years ago, 2014, Elijah Wood. Yeah, that was one of those films that took place a lot on a computer screen. It could be compelling.
Yeah, it was a cool story too because I mean
Yeah.
she was trying to expose this guy and trying to get like a big piece out to make people aware of what these girls are doing online.
Right.
This is all previous. This is all prior to 2020. So I guess prior to 2020, all of your daughters online were getting recruited by terrorists. After 2020, they were all getting recruited by transformers or whatever you want to. I'll try not to get us struck on that one. Um, but yeah, like they arranged meetings. Like basically, what this guy was doing, and I think what most of these people were doing was getting them to come because I think they were operating out of Syria at the time. Was to come to like a Turkish city that was near the Syrian border, and then was able to. They're supposed to be going there to meet their new husband, and sometimes they would actually get married online in some like little ceremony. And once they were getting to these places, they were just getting abducted and trafficked.
Okay.
They never even see this guy. They had their most handsome recruiter out there to try to pull these girls in, and
I'm a,
he
I'm
put
assuming I don't know if you looked into like the demographics of that. I'm assuming it was mostly like European women.
yeah this was a French reporter.
Yeah, it was all like
It was a lot of like
because it's definitely something that we didn't hear about happening
French
in
and German. I
America.
think it was a lot of French and German girls
Okay.
because it was just in that area. And yeah, getting like the details of what happened with this whole story of this reporter and stuff, looking it up online now is it's hard to find anything
Oh yeah.
because they're just this doesn't fit the narrative of basically what's happened to Europe. And
Well, imagine what it's going to be like in 100 years trying to find out information that happened today.
but
We're living in a I think we're living in a time where it's going to be in the future is going to be like a dark period where they literally just don't know what happened because nothing's recorded
they
physically.
I read through three different articles, like the Guardian and some other like quote unquote news articles,
Yep.
and they wouldn't even say Islamist in it,
Right.
and that he was a foreign operator and things. It's like they just
Yeah.
can't even say the words. I think one of them actually used. They said that he put out like a basically a hit. One of the articles actually said what it was called. It was called fatwa,
Mhm.
which is basically putting out a reward for
But
anybody
they
to
wouldn't
find
use
her.
the word fatwa.
No,
Okay.
no,
Yeah.
because it means to not just find her, but to find her and torture her on
Yeah.
video and humiliate her for the world to see because she was an infidel, and it was crazy to just kind of go back and try to read about this and look like PBS did an interview with the actual reporter where they had her face darked out, They said it was with Anna Arel. I don't know what her real name is. That was just her pen name. They were actually reported on it in 2015. Like this was a good thing this journalist did. Look how brave she was to do all this. And like, you can't. I'm surprised that PBS still had it up. I had to search for a while to even find it. It's like they've just. I don't know what's happened to the world with stuff to where there's just awful crimes like this, and people are just like, la la, you running around with their fingers in their ears, like, no,
Yeah.
we can't acknowledge that. It doesn't
Well,
fit our story.
I mean, even Villeneuve's Dune, they replaced the word jihad because in the books, Paul and the Fremen go on a jihad.
Yeah,
That's what they call it.
it's a religious
But
war.
in the Villeneuve movies, they have I think they use holy war. I think that's what they call it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Every era I think is affected by the politics of that era.
But Timur did this movie as well. Again, I like the way he does stuff. I'm not sure that he always has the biggest budget and the greatest writers behind his stuff, but he's a Russian filmmaker and kind of operates on his own. And um,
Sometimes a lower budget is the thing that makes you have to be really creative.
Yeah.
It says that this film Mercy had a budget of $60 million.
Yeah, and there's no way it had a short theater run. I didn't write down what it
Released by Amazon MGM Studios, struggled at the box office, grossing approximately 53 to 55 million worldwide.
The problem with Amazon Studios doing theater releases when they everybody knows it's going to come right back to Prime is there's no reason to go see it in the theater.
Right.
And that's why I didn't go see it. So
yeah, they really need to. We've discussed this before. They really need to start lengthening the amount of time in between theater releases and home releases.
Yeah.
Because there have been a lot of films where I'm just like, I'll wait 3 months. It'll be on Netflix or Amazon or something.
Or negotiating the price in the theater.
Yeah.
If this was a $6 movie, I might have gone to see it. I wasn't going to go see it at $15.
Well, I've said for a while that I think Netflix should release films in the theaters and you can go see it if you're a Netflix subscriber.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that that's no money added to Netflix, but okay, what about half off? What about if Mercy went to the theater and it's like, there's an Amazon film, come and see it in the theater and it's not $15, it's $8.
Or go buy their ticket in the theater and then have it come back to be 3 free rentals on Prime.
Or something. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta have like a synergy between the two systems. But yeah,
people like deals. I like deals. I don't like been like, here, you can either do this or else, because I'm like, I'm going to choose or else.
All right. So Mercy's
it's a good watch.
It's a good watch.
It's not going to be an all-time classic.
Yeah.
Chris
Chris Pratt seems to do, because like he also wrote the Future War. Like
Yeah.
he seems to do a certain amount of like commercial films. It seems like where it's like it's
he was
it's made to just kind of like be a fun film, not something that's going to really give you a lot to think about. Or
I can't remember. I think he
just something.
Saldana was one. Black Widow, what's her name, was two.
Scarlett Johansson.
Mm-hmm. I think Downey.
Are you talking about the budgets?
Downey was like 3, and I think Pratt was 4.
Okay.
So I mean, he's that was like the highest paid people. And
it's annoying that they're all Marvel actors. It's because of Marvel.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Well, Downey after this Doomsday thing they're making, the Avengers Doomsday, he might be on the top of the list after that, because that's like it's like a $2 billion budget or something like. It's ridiculous that budget for that film is.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's the films of Tim.
Yeah. Well, we'll come back and talk about the last one that I'm going to talk about is They Will Kill You.